Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
Man, it is fascinating watching the media, the left-wing media, celebrate a lawsuit against the media. And then to have the lawyers suing the media, thank the media for their defense of the lawsuit against the media. So you may have heard the breaking news that Fox Corp settled their lawsuit with Dominion. Dominion sued them for some alleged misstatements on the air, insinuating that Fox put them on the air maliciously. Fox fought back and said these were newsworthy claims. We were reporting the news. There's simply no way in a live show with guests to fact check every single thing.
Right.
So this turned out to be a bizarre case. They settled. I'll leave it up to you for you to decide if you think that was the right decision or the wrong decision. They obviously don't consult me for that stuff. I have nothing to do with this at all. But what was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, I think ever seen, in it's related to this specific thing, media lawsuits. The most bizarre thing I've ever seen, one of the lawyers for Dominion, after the settlement, comes out and gives a little mini presser and actually thanks the people in the left-wing media for helping them out in their case. Ever. Here, take a look yourself.
One last thank you, which is really to all of you for being with us on this journey. We appreciate what you've done to help us. And so thank you, and we'll see you at the next one.
Folks, I've never seen anything like that. The lawyer in a lawsuit against the media's ability to cover stories in live time. Listen, I'm going to tell you, yesterday's settlement and this lawsuit in general poses a really grave threat to media everywhere. It doesn't matter what your ideological tilt is. I mean, we all get CNN and MSNBC have a left-wing bent. That's not breaking news. Everybody knows that. It's the worst kept secret in the media business. Obviously, you could probably make a good case. Fox has a conservative bent as well. Some conservatives might challenge that too. The point is, people have different opinions on it. And I know working there, no one tells me what to say. Show's called Unfiltered for a reason. We air segments. I've never had any issues at all. I can only tell you the truth. I'm curious here as to what the standard is. I mean this, folks. I'm not trying to be silly or coy. And I know I always tell you pose a question, not an assertion. A question is better. I'm honestly posing a question, not to elicit a response in a way to be silly, but because I'm genuinely curious myself. What's the standard now? So if Hillary Clinton were to be a guest on the Dan Bongino show, probably would never happen, but who knows? One day she might come on and say, I want to come on your show. I don't know. We're the second biggest conservative podcast. Maybe she wants to we'd give her a fair shot. If she comes on the air on my show, right? Because now this is a live stream. It's 11:06 and 40 seconds. If she comes on the show and insists that there's a pee-pee tape of Donald Trump in Russia, and it was used as blackmail material to collude to steal an election, a claim obviously ridiculous and absurd, refuted by a federal investigation by a guy who doesn't even like Trump and Bob Mueller, can we be sued? And is that a legitimate case? Listen, I'm not a lawyer. I'm asking because I'm really curious what the standard is now. Well, you may say, well, the standard is you can't air false claims. Well, what if we're not making them? People call in on the phone line. Hey, is this show okay? I'm the guest in your next segment. People say stuff all the time. So is the suggestion that you're supposed to stop the show, say, hold on, let me check that claim, stand by, Hold on, be back. I'm not.
No,
Folks, this may sound like me being an ass. I'm not. I am really curious as to what the standard is. What's the standard? I'm really confused moving forward what the standard is for the media. And the media, by the way, includes opinion hosts. But this is a compilation of left-wing Democrat lawmakers. This is only about 1:38. This goes on for 21 minutes. College professors, Democrats, liberal media hosts, suggesting that voting machines are somehow are corrupted or can be corrupted, and that elections can be interfered in. These are all Democrats. So I'm curious, with this new standard the Democrats are trying to lay down, I'm genuinely curious, are all of these people, should they be banned from the show? My guess is yes, based on this new standard, because these are clearly, many of these clearly are likely false claims. Here, this is Democrats doing the same thing Fox was sued over. Take a listen.
So vulnerable. Right. We need to look at all the voting machines. Every Secretary of State needs to be, assisted in making sure that they are not being hacked and attacked.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
But researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that ballot recording machines and other voting systems are susceptible to tampering.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and resources are able to breach voting machines in a matter of minutes.
In 2018, electronic voting machines in Georgia and Texas deleted votes for certain candidates or switched votes from one candidate to another.
The biggest seller of voting machines is doing something that violates Cybersecurity 101, directing that you install remote access software, which would make a machine like that a magnet for fraudsters and hackers.
These voting machines can be hacked quite easily.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are doing different things, but in fact, 3 companies are controlling this.
It is the individual voting machines that pose some of the greatest risks.
There are a lot of states that are dealing with antiquated machines, right, which are vulnerable to being hacked.
Workers were able to easily hack into an electronic voting machine. It was possible to switch votes.
43% of American voters use voting machines that researchers have found have serious security flaws, including backdoors.
We know how vulnerable now our systems were. I know the hackathon that took place last year where virtually every machine was broken into fairly.
Democrats asking some of the very same questions about voting processes, voting integrity, election integrity. You can watch the whole video. It's 21 minutes plus. This goes on and on and on because you can't have it both ways. And Joe, tell me if I'm wrong. Either what they're saying and questioning about machines are legitimate lines of inquiry, which they are, voting processes, right? Or they're not. They're fairy tales, totally made up and lies, and then those people shouldn't be on the air. But it's clearly a newsworthy item, not an effort to defame anyone, to broadcast lawmakers with massive power in the Senate and the Congress suggesting we have problems with voting. That's clearly a newsworthy item on a news program. I'm unsure what the standard is. The irony is this is one of those scenarios where everybody loses. Everybody loses. Everyone loses. I don't even think Dominion understands how deeply everyone's lost here. You know how hesitant people are going to be in the future? Again, totally clueless as to this new media ecosystem they brought in today, where no one's going to want to air anything anyone says if there's even a remote possibility that it could be questioned.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show.